producers I ever met in my life. They always talk about Just. They always talk about Ye.
Yeah, good.
Talk that shit.
Yeah, give Bink his flowers. Give Bink his flowers. That's my brother.
The ruler's back. All I need.
All of that.
Like, the nigga is a fucking problem, man. Understand, put some respect on my brother's name.
Put some
man.
respect on that nigga's name.
Give it up for Big fucking Dog.
The Humble Monsta.
Traveled the whole world, and we're back in sunny Miami at Circle House to do Bink The Humble Monsta. You know what's coming next. We got something special. Let's go. BackTrak. Special episode. I'm here with The Humble Monsta.
Yes.
Bink. One shot.
What's cracking?
Your boy Don Cannon, BackTrak. I know y'all been waiting for this one. I got a lot of requests for this. This room is a classic room. I said it once before I did the Cannon in here. We just found out today from BB that Pharrell did Happy in here. That's a diamond record. But we're here to do Santorini Greece, Rick Ross, and this is starting from scratch. Let's get into this awesome genius brain of where you found this record and why you found this record.
Came across this Judy Bailey Quartet record. It was just different. And it took me a while to figure out how to approach it because there's no pocket to it. So it's like, how the fuck can I make these pieces make sense? I know they feel great. Now I was making them beat for Ross.
Okay, and you just was like, man, I need to hear a sound that's so different.
I'm always, looking for something different. I'm always trying to go away from what everybody else is doing constantly, So messing with this type of sample, it was definitely a challenge, super challenge.
I'm the hard head, man. Every time somebody asks me for some records, I go straight for horns. That was my thing. You know what I'm saying? I know you always said, man, I never use the same drum kit twice. I never use the same sample. I'm always looking for different sounds. Mm-hmm. I was the stubborn cat. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do pianos, and I stayed at pianos. I'll stay the same drums. You want potato chips? You're gonna get potato chips. What was interesting about this record? You know anything, the history about it, when it was made?
Bro, I had no knowledge of her at all prior to finding it. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy because I was just doing an interview with Lindsay Renee, this young girl, and she has all the knowledge of every records, bro. So I told her the secret to us sometimes be like looking at the cover and be like, the cover fire. You know what I'm saying? I used to like look at disco covers like, that's trash. I'm never sampling nothing off of this. I ain't even listened to the record yet.
Well, we stayed away from the 80s, period.
Yeah.
I mean, even like 78, 79, it started getting a little funny. You know what I mean? So we kind of stayed away from those years anyway, but also just reading the back. And like you said, if you're familiar with certain musicians and you see them on the back of somebody else's record, you're like, okay, cool, that's dope. And the instrumentation of the record. So when you say such and such on clav, such and such on roll, such and such on Wurlitzer, such and such on organ, like, okay, it's cracking. Like, they got everything going.
Yeah.
You got the brass section, all the names for the brasses. Like, man, it gotta be something up here. It's too much music up here.
Right.
So that was another reason why I would buy a record too. And sometimes it would still be a dud.
A dud.
You know what I'm saying? Straight dud.
$25 a
dud. So it's like, anywhere I work or any artist I work with, whatever city I was in, I always wanted to bought records first before the session. And then I would come to the session and go through the records I bought.
Man, that's a hell of a vibe right there. I can't trust myself enough to find a pack.
It's a spot out here. No, it's a spot out here I used to go to. Every time I came in here, it's a spot over here, North Miami. I can't remember the name of the store. It's like a little small store, but I used to always go buy records from there and then come here and go through the records in this room.
Wow. In the 90s, what was your weapon of choice when it came to making beats?
90s, first was ASR 10 for sure. I got my ASR 10 locked up in the studio over the weekend, and I had already bought an MPC 62, right? But I had the 3000 upgrade in it. But it was sitting on the floor the whole time because I didn't know how to work it. So me sitting in the house all weekend, like fuck it, I turned it on. And once I learned how to use it, and when I heard how the drums was snapping as far as quantization of it, I ain't never going back.
Yeah, I had a 3000. I had a 4-rat. He painted it candy paint blue. I had the blue screen. He put the new flash hard drive in that joint. He decked it out. And I tell you something, I never ever made a beat on it. It just sat there. Yeah, I was just ASR'd out, bro.
No, he tricked mine out for me too. I got mine with the wood grain on it, with like you got titanium on the face of it.
Yeah.
All the artwork going across the top.
Yeah, had some wood grain on the side. He didn't get my shit right.
He got it right now. TSA broke my shit. So I'm sick about that. But anyway, other than that, the transition from the MP to this was.
So what year was that when you made your transition to Logic?
I'm gonna say 06, 07.
Yeah, I think I did that too.
I started crossing over to the digital world. It was I was like fighting it though, cause the crazy shit was I had bought Logic before.
Yeah.
You know, remember all those discs that came with it?
Yep.
And I didn't install it right. So I didn't have all the sounds.
I did this. I did the same thing. I think I went to Apple. I bought Final Cut, Logic, and both of them had about 10 discs, bro. And if you ain't do it right,
crazy.
That joint was crazy. I used to try to save the ISO, toaster, bro. I used to do all that, bro.
Crazy. So that's how I ended up. Finally, my man Steve, shout out to Cold Red, Steve came through and just gave me all types of like plugins to go with all the VSTs. I was totally green to all that.
Yeah, I was too.
And it kind of like it changed my life though once I made it make sense. Cause back then I told you I was using the MP with Pro Tools.
Yep.
So the Pro Tools was slaving. I mean, the MP was controlling Pro Tools. So when I pressed play on the MP, Pro Tools would go too.
Oh, okay.
That way I could just use all the programming on the MP.
Yeah, you had the big clock set up. Okay.
Yeah, but then I use all the VSTs out of Pro Tools. So I would have to create like a instrument track and a MIDI track for each track.
That's dope.
You know what I'm saying? So that was like, I did Devil New Dress, all that stuff with that setup. Oh, that was my best setups.
What was the difference between the records you made in the 90s and some of the records you made in the late 2000s? Basically, what I'm asking, like, the actual, I know when I started, it was break beats, you know what I'm saying? And that's where I would chop drums from and, you know, find my my first setup was a Gemini mixer at 8-second sampler. And I just used to make pause tapes, they used to call them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I used to sample and then run it back till I had 3 minutes and then I would rap over it in the karaoke machine. What was the difference between making the records then and now?
I think going through a Neve and going through an SSL is like night and day.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It just made the record feel wider and a lot heavier.
Yo.
As far as bottom was concerned, coming through there first.
Had the feeling.
On the Pro Tools.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest thing missing.
Yeah, that duality, man. That's one of the ones.
I can imagine somebody mixing like a Metro or somebody doing an album on 2-inch. Like I can't imagine how that would sound.
Yeah, I mean, shit, I would love to see somebody do outboard mixing just to get back into it, but I know people scared of it because we used to have to put 4 or 5 papers over across that joint, like, do not touch. Let this board sit here at this same spot. If you touch a fader, the whole mix is turned off. When you started this record, did he ask you for something specific? Or was you like, let me cook and I'm gonna get you a pack? Or I'm gonna do it, you know?
Pretty much that's what I always do. I just cook with them in mind.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I think as long as I'm at a certain tempo, I feel like he can lock in.
Right. Yeah. Did you feel like he was just like, he had a little just laid back flow? So he was like, let me make a hard laid back beat, or like, what was like the whole vibe when you was thinking?
Oh, for real, bro. I feel like my approach to sample has always been figure out what the sample is doing first off, right? And then figure out how I can get in there and jam with them without being disruptive.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what I'm doing every time. It's like, okay, what drums would sound good, what cut through on this particular record.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like it don't always cut through on every record with the same drums. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm real meticulous about which kick, which snare, and all that. So once I really find that kick and snare that pops out through the sample, I'm like, okay, now I can go and really lock in with the drum pattern.
The number one question is, what's better? Drums first, sample first. Drums first, instruments first. Instruments first, then drums. I started drums first and I chopped to drum patterns. Right. As I got familiar with the digital territory, I started saying, oh, let me chop the sample and then get the drums going to it. You know what I mean?
Once I find the tempo that I want to chop at, I'll just put like a regular 1-2 drum pattern. Because I know it's going to change.
And do the post-production.
I just want to have a reference as I'm trying to find which piece of the sample that that's moving. And then once I find, oh, damn, then I immediately go to the drums and change the pocket because I already hear it.
Yeah.
So I'm always put like just a reference joint down.
And you play drums, so is that your mindset when you're thinking about how you're gonna go back in the post-production and change the drums? Like,
absolutely.
Okay.
Make it fit more to what I just did.
Yeah.
But like I said, first I'm gonna just do like a 1-2 joint just so I can vibe out with the chop.
Let's hear what the sample sound like before you even thought about it. I know you was listening, smoking a bleezy, falling back like, it just, cause when I'm doing this stuff, I don't even listen to whole records. You know what I mean? I usually I did beginning, bridge, end. The bridge was where I used to find the bulk of the information that I needed to make the record good for like the verses and stuff. But then the beginning was always like, I always thought about the band as 1, 2, 3, and then they get mellow. And then I'd be like, I don't want the mellow part. You know what I'm saying?
Well, with any song structure, the same progression is gonna keep coming around at least 2 or 3 times with the record.
Facts.
And each time they're gonna freak it different.
Right.
So it's like it gives you options as to which one you want to use.
Right.
That's why when you listen to like Devil in the Dress, it's like those chops are from different parts of the record, but the same section of the record.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying? But they play it different every time.
Yeah, like the way you doing certain these records, like you would take pieces that came in the verse, hook, bridge, you jumping back and forth. And I was like, I never seen a chop style like that because maybe I was too lazy. I don't know.
But you know the reason why? I always listen to the entire record.
So that's different. Not one person that we did a episode with, that sampled, listened to the whole entire record.
And that's when you miss out on a lot of other pieces. Get At Me, Dog. That's the same sample from Raw and Uncut for me. It comes after what they use.
Right.
So they let it play long enough. It was like all this other stuff came on. But see, this when the record started getting interesting right here. And again, it's like, it sounds beautiful, like, but how can I make this make sense? Cause they just freehanding right now. There's no structure.
Whenever we're together, colors of my dream seem so real. Feeling your hand as it touches my hand, whispering meaningless, beautiful phrases of love.
That's wild.
Falls apart, I don't care. Knowing you are here.
So I was like, okay, I got it.
If you had stems then, would you have took her voice out? Because that's very important. It was the voice, the part that struck you.
Yeah,
that was the ear candy.
That's what attracted me.
I got you.
And that's the reason why I think a lot of people thought it was a saxophone.
Yeah, I thought it was a saxophone. I didn't know it was a voice. You didn't actually tell me. I didn't know it was a voice until you was on Sway and you were playing the beat and I started saying, that ain't no sax, bro. That sound kind of crazy. That sound like a voice.
I mean, the crazy shit is I didn't add the saxophone into the day of the mix.
And was it a live saxophone?
Yeah, I put a saxophone player in the day of the mix.
Wow. But you didn't hear a sax when you did it, right? Or you just heard it on voice. You didn't hear the sax, right?
No. Whenever I'm doing a record, I feel like when you get to the hook, the record has to go somewhere else.
Okay, got you. So you had to build on it.
Yeah.
Got you.
So I knew it needed something when that hook came on.
Nah, that makes sense.
Distinguish between the two, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I said, I'm going to just bring the sax in and play off the vocals. So he played.
I heard it.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's nasty. Let's get into the chops. So you use it. So you love using Serato sample.
Oh man, swear by it.
Beautiful phrases of love. And if the world
It was an amazing sample. You gave Ross a classic.
Now watch this. Keep in mind, you ain't heard the last piece, right?
Meaningless beams, colors of my dream.
That's all the way down at the end.
Seem so real. Giving here. Giving when you are here.
I be fucking my own head up sometimes, boy.
But that's what I was talking about. In these episodes, we talk about the magic in it. Sometimes you find other pieces like, damn, why I ain't add that piece?
Colors of my dreams. Love is
You see where it was? I had to come way
Bro,
back
it
there
was
to get
way
the
in the
last
front.
piece.
I'm thinking it was further down the
But
line.
that's for the last piece, though.
That's crazy. You came to the front for the last piece.
A lot of my shit you would have skipped over. I mean, think about it. The ruler's back. Think about that for a second.
That's true. That's true.
Those were literally pieces. But I call that chop style, what I always called it, Gordon Gartrell. It's my Gordon Gartrell chop style. You know what I mean?
That's a chop style that nobody got, bro. Because if you go back and listen to that, I thought you was replaying everything, bro.
But you see, but now I showed you the magic to that.
So you did that in pieces. Why did you do it in pieces instead of playing all the way through?
Because it's so loose already,
Yeah.
because it's live,
Yep.
there's no way you're going to keep that locked in.
Oh, okay, got you. But before you had Serato sample, what did you use? Did you use the ESX or
Yep.
use the ESX? Because that's a bad joint too. The ESX is fire. I used to load up so many kits in there.
See how I slowed it down? Select all, they just go negative.
Yep, that's hard.
So now it's.
So what are you using for your drums?
Battery.
Battery. Okay. Any specific reason why you're using battery?
Because it looked like a virtual MP.
It does.
I be doing some crazy like drum patterns and shit.
I see, but you really a drummer, so your drumming is different. That's cold. Notice you had the velocity on one of the kicks is giving it the groove. So I noticed you ain't quantized. So you don't quantize? He said, no, sir. That's another question in the comments. They're all like, man, why don't y'all quantize? I was like, man, you lose your feeling. Now we get into the bass. This already sound like Greece. I feel like I'm in Greece already. Slide. I never learned the bass slide. I never learned it.
I watched the Italian Stevie J.
For real. I know Stevie J's an old dog. Shout out to Stevie J for the slide. Yeah, that's fire. Any particular reason you ain't use a live bass for this?
When it come to like for real doing music, it come down to space,
Yep.
right? And it's like as long as you got that space filled in,
Yo.
you don't really feel like you missing too much unless you hear it moving more.
Yep.
And that's when the live shit really comes.
Ah, got you.
Because now it's unpredictable because they just doing,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Filling up.
Feel it, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's the outcast, that's that organized noise.
Got
shit, know
you.
what I'm saying?
Makes sense.
Just let your bass player play live top to bottom.
Yeah.
Just go.
Get all the best
Yeah,
parts.
just go. No, just let them go live.
Oh, live.
Yeah, top to
Even
bottom.
straight?
Yeah,
Okay.
let them go. When they play live,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Get a good take, you'll keep that take, or you like 3 takes and you, but it'd be one long jump.
Yo.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this was more like, you know what? I like what's going on in the sample. So they got everything covered at the top. So like, I don't really, I don't really think I need it. So I just wanted something at that bottom to make it, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody using the 808s. As long as I got something down there at that bottom, they ain't gonna miss the 808.
One of our things we used to do back then too is we used to take another track of the sample that we chopped and turn them and filter all of it up.
Yeah.
Like, when did you stop doing that?
I still do it from time to time. It's a case-by-case situation. But sometimes you be like, you know what? I'm just getting my man to play that.
Right.
And I'm just do away with it altogether. But sometimes you be like, you know, I just love what that bass is doing already.
Yo.
And I'm gonna just filter it. But
Right.
it ain't gonna be clean.
It ain't gonna be clean.
You know what I mean?
It's
So
gonna sound muddy.
yeah, so I know my dudes can replay anything I play them.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do the same thing, just to try to get to match the texture
Yo.
that's in the sample though.
Yo. That's dope.
And that's a lot of people don't understand when you're trying to do certain joints. All bass guitars don't sound the same.
Right.
All guitars don't sound the same. So it's really a texture thing when it comes down to it.
Yeah, this is a tough question too. Church musicians?
Best.
Or I knew you was gonna say that.
Most church musicians gotta dumb themselves down to do R&B and rap.
That's cool, bro. We just got finished talking about this in a session that I had. And they was talking about having to dumb themselves down. He's like, we so good, we got to dumb ourselves down.
Absolutely.
People got to strive to be
They
better.
they do the most in church. In church, they do the most. What they do in the church is equivalent to a DJ to keep backspinning.
Yeah,
Why people trying to dance?
That's
Bro,
true.
We don't care about you backspinning. Find a pocket. Find some records. And just, like, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Groove, but we don't care about how good you scratch right now.
yeah,
So it's like when you doing R&B, you gotta calm that shit down.
yeah.
They got chords for days.
So when they're writing though, when they're writing notes and stuff like that, do you tell them what you want to hear, or you say just go wild? Because I know sometimes musicians can go wild and it just can't find. If I say, yo, I want the feeling of Stevie, but I want the song to sound like Sting and the Police, like they might not get that. They're just gonna go off church-wise. Like you just totally tell them, hey, here go all the lines. This all I want you to do, or you just be like, yo, just play some stuff till I hear some stuff.
No, I don't know. Most people who do that don't know what they're doing. I'm gonna always have a reference, and then they can elaborate off my reference.
Got you.
Could they hear around about where I wanted to be?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I'm gonna always have that for them.
Yeah, I'm a reference type of dude. I have to give you the reference, and I'll sit there until you catch the reference.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
you got to, because like I say, it's hard to find a musician that understands hip hop and being a musician.
That's real.
Because if you just let a musician go, he'll jazz you up. You know, you sound like Kenny G. You started out with an
They
MOP
definitely-
record. Now you got Kenny G on the goddamn hook.
They have changed all kinds of
Right.
ways. I'm like, man,
It's
we
like
got strings playing different ways.
it's a whole nother art form to add an instrumentation to sample. Because you can absolutely ruin the vibe that's there if you're playing the wrong shit over top of it.
That's a big fact.
That's why I really think separate me from a lot of people. Just understanding what's in the record
Yeah.
and what it calls for and what emphasize on.
Did you come from the church?
Yeah.
You played drums in
Yeah,
church?
for sure.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, and I DJ. So it's like to have
Right.
both of those in my bag is like, it was basically training to do this.
Okay.
Because now I understand pocket, because I play drums in church, so I know how the drum should feel. Now I'm DJing, so now I understand energy, what records make you feel like what, and how to attain that. Like, that's what DJing, I think, really teaches you.
Nobody could ever understand that when I'm explaining it to them. I'm like, bro, I know that's gonna go. I know what I'm playing for. You know what I mean?
That's because that's your DJ ears.
But nobody they can't understand it. They're like,
don't have a
how?
DJ.
I'm
They
like,
don't
bro,
have a
I
DJ.
know what that's gonna do at Coachella. I know what that's gonna do at the club. I know what that's gonna do to people in the car. And people have never understood that. So, you know what I mean? That's just a special technique that you got. And people try to train themselves up to it, but you just gotta have it. Like you can't really, figure that part out. Do you mix? Or do you give them the raw file? I know I mix. I know a lot of people I know people that mix all the way through. And I never understood that. I always looked at mixing as something I want to do at the end. I never wanted to EQ. If I went into the machine for the record player, I EQ with my DJ mixer and got it how I want to sound it before I go in there. Then I manipulate it. I never mixed after that. But now that I'm in a box where I have all these plugins and I have like VSTs that can help me manipulate sounds, I tend to just like mess with a lot. I don't do a lot. I do a master fader sometimes, but do you do master fader? Do you give it like so?
I don't use anything on my master fader for the most part till the engineer really comes in. But when I'm mixing just from the crib, it's never a limiter or
Wow.
none of that stuff I want to see.
So how do you get the loudness that everybody talking about like FL Studio out of Logic?
I mean, Logic is, like I said, Logic don't really allow you to bang in the red like that.
You got to do a lot of color in Logic
Yeah,
for sure.
so it's like you got to do, the levels is everything. You got to really push it. Like, forget what the levels are saying.
Mm-hmm.
Push it to where it feel like that's where it's supposed to be.
Yep.
And then you pull the whole mix back as a whole. That way you don't lose the mix that you got. People be going there, turn it down.
Yeah.
And then you end up losing. You see what I'm saying? So my thing is I always, if it's feeling like everything is in the right place for the most part, then I just turn everything down, like that -6 I told you about.
Yep.
-6. Then I turn the drums back up like +3.
Okay.
over top of it, so that way I know it's gonna be more in your face in front.
Got you.
You feel me?
That makes sense.
So that's what I be.
So ain't no real EQ in none. No compressors, no.
None of that for real. Unless the snare is just a little low and it's a lot of instrumentation in the record. I need to pump some volume. I need some more volume. I use a compressor then just to pump it up some more. But like I say, compressors can kill you.
Right.
Like I see engineers ruin. I've had mixes ruined.
Oh, for sure.
Compression.
For sure.
So you gotta be careful with that as well.
How important is actually formatting a beat for the rapper, or should you just send them a skeleton and come back and set the tone? I know a lot of people, they want to chop up your beat and do it all themselves. Ask for stems. Is it something you want to do?
The worst thing an artist can do is fall in love with how the beat was when you gave it to them, which happens a lot.
Demoitis.
You were just really giving them a place to write, you know what I'm saying, so they could get their shit off right quick. But that's not necessarily, we're not locked into this, like the drums playing or they're not playing right here. Like I may want to come back and move some stuff around, you know what I'm saying? It's like they get locked into how we gave it to them. That's pretty much a reference.
Yeah, I'm doing that a lot. I go back. I tell people, I'm only sending you skeleton because I got so much more that I want to do to the record at the end.
But because they think so as backwards now, so now I do the drops.
Yeah.
So it forces them to write to the drops that are there.
Makes sense.
Instead of trying to do it afterwards because they'll never understand.
Gotcha.
So I give it to them with the beat dropping out and all that, already doing that when I give it to them, just to get them on my page.
Right.
And then they end up writing to the drops that's already in the record.
I also do this thing where you got the beat, I format it, everybody say, what's next? Me personally, I ride around in the car and listen to it before I even give it to the rapper or the artist.
For days.
I just listen to it because I want to make sure that it's infectious enough for me to send it. A lot of people don't do that. They just bang out, boom, bang out, boom. I'm like, bro, how y'all just not, you might not like that beat the next day.
But that's the same person that tell you, I did 15 beats yesterday. Yes, it sound like it sound like you did 15 beats. Man, this shit finished.
Man, listen, I see kids, they giving me 32 beats a day. They made them all in one day.
How, Sway?
I just get to a point where I'm like, man, let me stick to the way I got. I don't even have an argument no more. We also had this argument, and y'all can tell me in the comments, FL loudness versus Ableton loudness versus Logic or the best DAW. There's so many of them. You got Studio One.
I'm gonna ride with FL. I ain't gonna lie. As far as knock, I'm gonna go with FL, and I'm gonna go with FL with that 9. What's the one?
11.
11. That's the one they all love.
Yep.
Nobody really rocks with 20 for whatever reason. The guys who was like,
yeah, I would have been on it if I don't want to get a PC. You know what I'm saying?
That's the whole catch.
So that the PC part of it, it was like, man, I don't want to see a C prompt ever in my life. When I used to do that shit in high school, it was C prompt / boom boom. Like, I don't want to see that no more, bro. I want to get to the Mac part where I'm doing it. But if you're in the comments, let me tell you one thing. FL is probably the loudest. Ableton is the best. And Logic, and then Logic, and then Logic is like a color. It's a color. It's a coloring book.
You put us in last.
Yeah, I know because I started there, but I know what I had to come through. I had to use bit crushers. I had to use all kinds of stuff to be like, bro, why I'm not sounding right? FL don't got to do nothing. You know what I mean? You turn the limiter off when you first open the joint or the normalizer. Bro, it sound like a record from the jump. You making it feel like a record.
Yeah, but as of recently, when I sent you Plain Jane.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. He just sent me. We did a record together. He sent me one. He sent me the stems to put the rest of the stuff in there. I was like, bro, it don't sound the same. It's something he's doing in this machine.
Logic. I had to figure out how to get it to sound close to Fruity.
Yeah. So we got the beat done. That's the episode, but we got a B-side coming. Stay tuned.